Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GSL Code A. I am Moletrap, at Moletrap on Twitter if you'd like to tweet at me. And we are back here with the third series of Code A today on this second stream. It's going to be none other than YugiOh versus Sculp. And, excuse me, this is going to be an interesting match. I'm really curious to see what happens here. Last match, I was talking about how, you know, again, I said at the beginning of the broadcast, if you missed it, this is a day of matchups. Best and worst matchups. Well, last match we had Squirtle versus Seal, and they were both playing their best matchup. Squirtle loves PvZ, Seal so good at ZVP, and this match is going to be a little bit different because this match we have YugiOh, who is no good versus Terran, playing a Terran by the name of Sculp, who has not traditionally fared well against Zerg. So we're going to get started with game number 1 on ESV Cloud Kingdom. Alright, and up here at the top right of Cloud Kingdom we have our Terran player from the team NS Hoso. He is none other than Sculp. Don't know where he got his name from exactly, but kind of an interesting name. And down here at the bottom left hand corner of the map we have his opponent. I don't know where he got his name either. He is YugiOh, now on the Team Slayers. Yeah, so I'm going to talk first about YugiOh real quick. He is definitely going to be the favorite here just because of the fact that he's got a lot more experience. But experience is not everything, and like I said, this is not his best matchup because, well, he has just had so many problems with Terran players in the past. I mean, if you think about it, just going back, Terrans have been his bane in just every down here in the sort of third base area of Sculp. So he wants to. This is something we see like almost all the time nowadays in Terran versus Zerg. Is Terrans hiding their barracks just so they can keep the Zerg in the dark, so they don't know how to respond. But yeah, YugiOh. I mean, he's been in Code S. He's actually been really, really solid. That's why he's the favorite here. But I mean, looking back, this recent Code S, he got knocked out down to the first round of Code A. Lost to Zenio, but who else did he lose to? Lost to GOMTV, a Terran. Before that, he did really well in his up and down group, but, you know, he got knocked out of Code A last season by a Terran, by Keen. And before that, he got knocked out of Code S the previous season by Ryung and MMA. And before that, he got knocked out of Code A by Marine King. So, a couple seasons before that. You know, the times he gets into the up and down matches of the seasons rather, I guess, that he doesn't play the Terrans to get there, and he just keeps getting knocked out by Terrans every time. So not a good situation at all for YugiOh. Now, on the other hand, we have Sculp. You know, he's a relative newcomer who is placing a bunker down here by this hatchery, by the way. And oh, it's actually not visible. Oh, I thought that'd be visible. I thought it'd be close enough, but it's not. Oh, and this is why we see this barracks in that position. Excuse me, almost choked on myself there. This is why we see that barracks in the position he's there, because he knows that Overlord is going to fly there and he can lift it up and kill that Overlord. That's going to supply block him at a crucial moment. The SCV has been killed, so this bunker is going to get canceled. Hopefully. No, he didn't cancel it. He let it die. So a bit of a mistake by Sculp. Sculp showing his lack of experience here by letting that bunker die. And now he's going to try and set up shop at his natural here and try and protect against any kind of counterattack. But really, really cool move, you know, killing off that Overlord up here, but botching the execution on his attack. And, you know, if you're going to go ahead and put a little scare bunker there, you need to actually pay attention to it, unfortunately. Anyway, but this is really interesting. We just had a Roachborn finish for YugiOh, so this is going to possibly heat up very soon if he goes for a little bit of Roach pressure, or a lot of Roach pressure, I guess, would be the case. Anyway, just real quick about Sculp. Like I said, he hasn't been playing too well against Zergs. You know, he lost to Seal in an iCup weekly a while back, and Coca. This was like 7-8 months ago, so it's not really much to go on. But point being, he just hasn't traditionally been that strong in this matchup. Although he did beat Curious recently in a IPL qualifier. But anyway, we're going to see the test of his ability to hold off a roach rush right here. We've got Zerglings coming across the map. The Marines are there. They spotted the Zerglings, but have they seen the roaches yet? I don't think they have, but there's a second bunker building. I think he's probably going to be okay as long as he... Actually, there's no SCVs to pull. That is one of the reasons why you actually need to Maynard some SCVs down to your expansion. Maynard meaning a process of sending your SCVs from your main to your expansion base so you can mine with it at 2 different locations. He doesn't have any SCVs here to repair these bunkers, and it looks like YugiOh is just going to be a little bit annoying about this and transition out of it. He's starting to drone up instead. Oh, actually he's going in. He's going to try and kill off some of these SCVs. After all, the Marines in the bunkers doing tons of damage, softening up those roaches, and they're just going to go right into the main base. I think this was a little bit of a mistake. He is going to lose these roaches and give up all kind of map control. The Marines are just going to take them out. I'm not sure if this is going to be worth it. He's also getting a good scout in, I guess. He's going to see this factory. Force the SCVs to run a lot. Well, let's actually see. Okay, he's killed 9 SCVs, actually. So that's... One of those was at the bunker at the beginning of the game. So he's killed 8 SCVs with this attack. And, well, it killed a few Marines as well. So, turned out to not be horrible. Not be completely horrible. Actually, he did get some damage done, and that's going to leave him at only 22 SCVs, whereas after he made those initial roaches and lings, he has been droning up like crazy, getting every inject and droning up with every larva. So he has gotten 34 drones out, and he's getting a 3rd base as well. He figures, okay, well, I just damaged his economy a lot. I killed some of his Marines as well. He can't really push out too much right now because I saw him teching as well, and he needs to wait for that tech to complete. So, very nicely done by YugiOh, actually. He actually did a lot more than I thought he would there. I thought when those bunkers were there that he would just get stopped, but I underestimated how important that barracks being in that spot was. And as soon as that barracks lifted up, he just darted right in there. Didn't give him a chance to re-land it to block again. So very nicely done by YugiOh, and he's even getting a macro hatch here by the ramp. He's just like, all right, well, I've got an advantage. I'm just going to totally make use of it and get everything. And even getting some roaches out now, which is going to be perfect against the Blue Flame Hellions that we're going to see being produced here by our Terran player, Sculp. Sculp does have a Hellion over here at this tower, so he knows that the creep is starting to get out on the map. He has no idea that this 3rd base is up yet, though. And actually, he's only producing single Hellions out of... Okay, never mind. Now he just finished the reactor on that other factory, so he's going to start producing a lot of Hellions. We're going to see him basically going into some hardcore mech here. In fact, we'll probably see him start to produce tanks and get siege tank tech off of that factory as well. And, oh, he's going to let that Hellion die. Yep, again, a little bit poor control by Sculp, just not having the multitasking to pay attention to do those little micro things that you need to do, like canceling bunkers, or he could have easily pulled that Hellion back and then repaired it, or at least just pulled it back and it would have still been alive. He's going in here. He now sees the 3rd, and he's going to try and take out some of these drones, and he's going to get a couple drones and a couple Zerglings, but then be forced to retreat around the side of the map. So he already had the Roach tech up, so he is actually going to be really prepared for these Hellions, and again, more Hellions being produced, but the real key is going to be defending against this mech attack later on in the game. Another command center has already gone down. We saw that earlier, by the way. There's the siege tech, and we already have a couple siege tanks out. We already have at least one out. Okay, just the one. And he's already preparing to hold on to this 3rd base, actually. That's kind of cool. I like this position when they put this bunker here. The command center goes right next to it. It's really, really strong to do that. It's a good sort of what we call SimCity thing to do. SimCity being like the term for placing your buildings in strategic spots. And he's actually going to run these Hellions by, and I'm a little surprised that he tried to, well, never mind, he's just going to run into some flying crawlers here. And they go down without doing very much damage at all. He's killed a total of 5 drones this entire game. Not very good at all. I mean, usually you expect 5 drone kills each off of every single Blue Flame Hellion, you know? But, not happening. And this is interesting, though. Okay, well, this is a little strange. Alright, so I guess he's going to kind of go a combination biomech, because he's still producing... Well, he still was producing Hellions, but now he's not producing Hellions anymore. And he's getting bio upgrades and more barracks, so... I guess he's going to switch back up. I'm Sculp being a little bit indecisive here, not really going for any particular tech and not really sticking with it. Perhaps he just, you know, he saw those roaches and he's like, all right, well, there's too many roaches for these Bluefin Hellions to do any good, so I'm just going to go ahead and switch back up into bio. It might be what he's thinking here. Not sure exactly, but he is definitely going to be switching back into bio. He's getting some Vikings. He's getting another Viking as well. He's a couple Vikings out already. So this is just kind of a really interesting play from Sculp. It's not something I've seen before, and you know, soon. I'm not certain yet if it's a result of him being inexperienced and not having the best builds, or if it's because he actually knows what he's doing and he just has something really unique to show us. You know, we've seen that in the past. Just casted Revival the other day, and I was remembering how he had a really cool like roach drop strategy, and he was kind of the first to do that. And now we see Zerg players mix that into their tool belt every once in a while. Anyway, so who knows? This might be something that he's doing actually very specifically. It could just be in some indecisiveness. He has moved that factory off the reactor. He's actually building a reactor with this barracks instead of just putting it on this one. So, I mean, Sculp, he's definitely making some not playing perfectly, but still playing very, very strong. His macro is definitely holding up. He's on 3 bases now, getting a lot of units, and he's a little bit behind in supply because we saw YugiOh get this 4th base up very quickly. I mean, he got that early advantage from that roach attack and has just really made use of it by really soaring, getting his economy soaring and getting a lot of units out now. So, and there's that awesome shark. Oops, lost track. Air shark, or space shark, I guess you can call it. Anyway, this bunker, like I said, I was going to talk about this earlier, is in a really nice position because, you know, Zerglings can't get a surround on it, and you can repair it from one side, but not going to do as much good against Banelings and Roaches. Really good bunker placement against Zergling counterattacks, but he's got to be careful. He's got a nice little wall over here, and here he is moving in with a lot of Zerglings. The tanks are there to do some damage to the high ground, and he's actually just going to lift and evacuate for a moment. Just moving with those Marines, and I like this though, the tanks on the high ground, so they can't just be picked off very easily by Zerglings. He's going to move in and try and re-secure this location. SCVs are being moved back to that location now, and YugiOh is just kind of falling back here. Will YugiOh break the curse of getting eliminated every single time by Terran players? We're going to find out soon. More Banelings being morphed here, and oh, actually, oh, this is interesting. Sculp is moving across the map on the side here. Oh, and I didn't even see it underneath the cloud of units. He had a Baneling landmine there that killed a lot of Marines. Beautiful positioning on that. And now we have some Marines splitting, a nice splitting there, but it's just not, there's just too many Zerglings there. And the tanks, oh no, tanks are unsieged, and this is just a wreck. An absolute train wreck for Sculp. He's going to fall back to this group of Marines there and force the retreat temporarily from our reserve player from YugiOh. But even going to lose that Viking. I think, wait, did he lose it? Maybe he didn't lose it. Never mind, he didn't actually lose that Viking, but it's under attack. But yeah, losing a lot there, and is now 30 supply behind. Upgrades are pretty even, by the way. YugiOh is a little bit ahead on his upgrades, as you can see up here. He's going to finish his 2-2 a little bit before. Well, he's going to finish, well, actually they're, I guess, about even if you think about it. He's going to finish one before the others. And oh, look at this, another Baneling landmine on that ramp. Zergling to spot it there. Oh, he scans it though this time and sees it. He's going to move in here and try and kill a couple of creep tumors as well. Zerglings bring in just to die, I guess. Maybe he was hoping to buy time for the creep tumor to not. Look at the creep spread that we got going over here, by the way. YugiOh is just all over this. The map is swathed in purple all over. Of course, not in the center here very much, but he's been kind of pressing on this side, so he's been killing off creep tumors as he approaches. And here he comes in trying to kill off some, well, actually just goes for the extractor. He leaves it at 7 hit points. I'm not sure. Okay, now the tanks are going to finish it off. But he needs to be careful. Okay, he does have sieged up there, but no, he doesn't fold his Marines back at all. Wow, okay, Sculp is just basically getting outclassed here, and he does have a nice counterattack going on as well, by the way. From YugiOh, he forced the third to lift. SCVs are gonna get slaughtered, maybe. Okay, well, he's just rolling those around. Actually, might just be trying to save them since he knows the Zerglings can kill the SCVs. Running him up into the main, just wants to go for those Marines. Good decision, actually. Zerglings can go in through the breach forced by the Banelings and just go to town on everything. Sculp has gotten some damage done over here at the fourth base, rather. He's killed off the fourth base, but I don't know if he's going to be able to kill off YugiOh. Banelings morphing, more Banelings morphing over here, but the counterattack has just been so devastating. Everything is dying in the main base of Sculp, and right now Sculp has almost nothing. He's got no mining basically right now at all, whereas YugiOh still has this base mining. He's got his second base thriving. Here comes the last stand for the Terran army. Banelings just rolling past everything, even blows up the tank. Everything dies. GG comes from Sculp, and YugiOh takes game number 1. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, I think, I kind of said it before, but we basically saw Sculp get outclassed there. YugiOh, a very, very strong player, and Sculp, you know, he showed, I hate to say it, but a little bit of sort of amateur play. He made some mistakes that you should not make as a pro player. Definitely not the kind of mistakes that you can make in Code A and get away with. So, yeah, very, very strong play from YugiOh. And Sculp, you know, I gotta hand it to him. He had really good macro. His multitasking just failed him. He could not split his Marines against the Banelings when he needed to split them. He could not cancel the bunker, even when he didn't really have a whole lot else to do except kill the Overlord with the barracks. Floating barracks to spot. So, anyway, YugiOh goes up game 1, and we're going to move into game number 2 on Metropolis. See if Sculp can show up some better play.